It's back again. After my first video, I'm sure you're so fired up you want to get to Hungary, and that's what I'm going to look at here. How do you get to Hungary? What is the most efficient way of doing it? First, the good news. If you hold a New Zealand passport, you don't need a visa, just a return ticket. You can stay in Hungary and travel around the rest of the EU countries for 3 months. From New Zealand, the most likely entry point would be the Budapest airport. There are other international airports in other Hungarian cities, but they tend to connect to small, out-of-the-way European cities. If you're flying in from New Zealand, you'll land in Budapest. These days it's called the Budapest Ferenc Liszt International Airport, but you may also come across the older name, which is Ferihegy. There are now direct flights into Budapest from New Zealand, but with a stop in Sydney and a plane change at either Dubai or Doha. Way better than the old days when you flew over Hungary after your 30 hours or whatever and waited for 8 hours to catch a plane back from Germany or get a kind relative to drive you back from Vienna. Personally, I find Emirates are good, but Qatar Airlines also have a direct flight. My recent experience has all been with Emirates going through Dubai, so that's what I'm going to mainly talk about. These days, with the transfers to and from the airport, waiting to board and actually sitting on the plane, you can get to Budapest in just 33 hours door to door. This is magic. It's a bit longer coming back due to the connection times. Unless they offer you an off-site hotel for free, splash out and get a room at the airport itself, and this is in Dubai, or you can hang around the airport for 10 hours. This saves money but definitely increases stress. You're not going to find, like you would in Munich or somewhere like that, a nice area that's quiet with some free seats. You'll fight to actually find a seat at all. Now if you're going with Emirates, you'll have to change planes at Dubai, and as I said, Dubai is big and it's crowded. It has hundreds of gates and about 1,000 flights a day. They do have these great signboards which help you find your gate, but only for the next flights for the next 2 to 3 hours because there are so many flights going through. If you suddenly look at the board and realise you can't read it, try the one next to it because everything is in both Arabic and English. Terminal 3, which is where you'll be landing, has 3 concourses called A, B and C. Allow at least 45 minutes to get to your gate. It may take less, but you may have to take a train. Get to your gate about an hour and a quarter before takeoff. So you're basically looking at leaving 2 hours before you're taking off is when you need to be heading towards your gate. So an hour and a quarter before takeoff is when it normally opens, and you'll probably have to go through a low-level security check again there. A bag search, maybe some explosives testing, water bottle tossing, that sort of thing. None of the body scans. I don't think I've ever struck a body scan coming back through there, but you might. Boarding may be through an air bridge or a bus, so don't be late. If the bus is gone, you're not going to get on the plane. 5 hours later, you're in Budapest. Now, I like the Budapest airport. Plenty of space and seats for when you fly out, but for now you've just arrived, so you don't really need to sit down and read your book. Signs are in Hungarian and English, so no need to memorise the Hungarian for gate or transfer or anything like that. Same as any airport, through border control, pretty pleasant and efficient these days. Pick up your luggage and what? I'm assuming you're going to stay in Budapest. There is a train to Ferihegy. Oh, you said the airport is called Ferihegy and there is a train to Ferihegy. Don't be fooled. It's a considerable distance. It's about 7 kilometres actually, and so you need to catch a local bus if you want to go to the station. It's the 200E. But unless you actually want to catch the train, you're better off getting the airport bus, which is the 100E. Now this has only been around since 2018. It's a new service, which is great. It's dearer. It's 900 forint, which these days is about $5 New Zealand. And of course, like anywhere, there's shuttles and taxis. If you've been elsewhere in Europe, you might also arrive by train. Trains are great in Hungary and all the main stations in Budapest connect to the metro system. but there's a lot of stairs. So they're fantastic if you're moving with just a backpack. So if we're going to other cities in Europe, we'll actually go up after Budapest and then just connect that way with a backpack. I wouldn't want to do it with a suitcase. I really wouldn't want to do it with a suitcase. A third possibility is that you could arrive by boat on the Danube. I do have a cousin who did that. It does happen, but it's a little expensive and a little bit unusual. And if you're doing it that way, I'm sure you have travel agents and everything else who will actually help you on the way. The fourth possibility is to arrive by car. If you're staying in a hotel, you might find the cost of parking equal to the cost of the hotel room. And don't expect to find street parking, or if you do, check it is in a towaway area at night. Same if you're staying with friends. Garages are rare in Budapest, as is off-street parking. In residential streets, there may only be parking for residents on the street. The streets there are really narrow, and with the cars even parked down one side of the street, you've basically got a one-lane street. So it's not a place for parking. Okay, don't take your car unless you really need to. Well, I'm sure you'll sort it out. After all, we Kiwis can adapt to anything. But when you get there, what are you going to do? How about some sightseeing? I'll try that for my next video.